Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey everyone, checking in on the market. We're going to look at gold and NUGT as well, which has been on absolute fire, but we'll start it off with SPY. So again, I want to go to SPX because SPY had the dividend adjustment last Friday, and it changes the way things look a bit. So I am looking for two things. Number one, we're starting consolidation. We had a weekday, very tight, not much going on, volume pretty non-existent. But I'm looking to see, is it going to be this kind of consolidation for continuation, which is healthy, shallow, lack of bear volume, or are the bears going to give us some kind of follow through with some kind of volume? So again, looking at it on SPY with volume here, we had very limited consolidation. This was very healthy. Remember, the burden of proof is on the bears. If the bears are not proving anything with volume and a significant price pullback, all bulls are happy with sideways trading right now. After the move that we've seen over the last month of trading, they'll take it. So for SPX, looking at the daily time frame, anything above 28.74.70, that's the level for me. That's our clear low of the previous consolidation. And anything above that is a daily higher low. If we lose the daily uptrend, we then look for a weekly pullback. But at this point, the bulls are comfortable enough that we're just going to be looking for a higher low here. Going to be watching for the potential of the negative impact of the Democratic debates, which start this week. 4 hours of debate, Wednesday and Thursday, 2 hours each. And the Democrats talk negatively about the biotech sector and the healthcare sector often, as far as changes to healthcare or pharmaceutical prices. So the market is likely starting to price that in, which we'll look at in just a moment. And we also have a scenario where the financial sector is potentially starting to price in the rate cut odds in July, which right now the market is pricing in and anticipating that in July we will get a rate cut. IWM with a significant pullback. Generally, IWM I see react more to the biotech sector than most other markets, which would make sense when we look at XBI here in just a minute. But IWM pulling back significantly. The weekly lower high does look set for IWM, but we do still have the daily uptrend. It hasn't been lost just yet. 151.67 breaking would lose the daily uptrend, and then we would zoom out to the weekly and say, all right, the bulls have to hold 145.32 to try and form a weekly higher low. QQQ, very healthy consolidation, closed at the low of the day, but no volume. And anything above 181.94 is a higher low. Bulls are very comfortable. And again, just the same thing. We're going to look for what kind of consolidation is it? Is it consolidation that favors continuation or consolidation that would favor a tightening range? XLF. So XLF is potentially going to be the weaker sector out of the major sectors. And for me, the major sectors are the biggest holdings in SPY, which are financials, tech sector, and healthcare. So the financials, if we break this level of 26.93, that will be notable. If we hold this support, then we're going to stay in this tightening range into early July. So this support test is approaching. If it breaks, we zoom out to the weekly, and the bulls will try and hold 25.92 to form a weekly higher low. And we have a tightening range here. If we do break that daily support, we have our high of the bull move, higher low on the weekly, lower high, and then we would look to see if a higher low forms, continuing to tighten those ranges. XLV, daily inside bar. So not seeing too much weakness here in the healthcare sector just yet. If that is our low of 92.66, that certainly favors continuation. Bears have to break that level to make the pullback more meaningful, and we're going to be looking for a daily higher low compared to 90.90, keeping the bulls in control. XBI, there's your weakness. Big red Marubozu candlestick pulling back significantly at this point. 80.65 is a support level. That's a long way away. There's another one at 81.45, but that's a long way away as well. Hourly RSI, just getting to oversold at the end of the day. So if we go red tomorrow, we'll be looking for an hourly oversold bounce. But again, just another example where the biotech sector leveraged ETFs, aside from gold, which is obviously going crazy right now. The bull miners and the biotech sector leveraged ETFs have a lot of volatility every single day. Looking at the VIX here, so on the 4-hour time frame, we have our range that was established, this wide range, low, high, higher low, and right now it looks like our lower high has been set. So we're looking at 1430 as a key level and 1560 and 16 as two key levels as well. But overall, VIX not really doing a whole lot over the last couple of weeks, with the market keeping control and keeping orderly control. So oil held up. Bulls had a really nice dip buying V-shaped recovery here, and we saw 5 and 15 minute RSIs oversold, but we didn't lose the 4-hour uptrend. 4-hour support was 56.65 and we held 56.74. So support held by 9 cents and a V-shaped recovery. You can see 58 psychological clearly providing some resistance here as all these candlesticks continue to reject. So if we keep the 4-hour support, bulls keep full control, and if we lose that level, then we'll be looking for daily consolidation and a daily higher low to form. But until we lose the 4-hour uptrend, we're not looking for daily consolidation. NatGas got a solid bull day. Daily exponential resistance, which rejected the last bounce attempt, is in play now. And anything under 2412 is just a lower high. Bulls are going to be hoping for an inverse head and shoulders pattern with the left shoulder head. If we can't break 2412, we'll need a higher low and then a daily trend change. And if that were to happen, we would zoom out to the weekly, and we would just be looking for a weekly lower high and weekly exponential resistance. So certainly one step at a time, and the daily exponential resistance and daily downtrend are key for the bulls to try and shift this momentum. Gold breakout continues in a big way. Every single day is a higher low. As long as that's the pattern, the bulls keep full control. At this point, you don't want to be FOMOing in to a bull miner or bull gold position. There's still day trading opportunity for bulls, but if you are not in at this point, you want to enter on a daily higher low. And daily consolidation, we will certainly anticipate higher lows in both gold and miners. So patience at this point, and we have to be able to accept as traders that sometimes we don't hit every opportunity, and it's best to wait as opposed to try and make up for that and make a poor entry. So the 4-hour uptrend on gold is key as well. It looks fairly similar to Bitcoin, actually. Bitcoin hasn't broke to higher highs yet. But anyways, we've got our clear continuation. The 4-hour uptrend easily intact at this point, and we haven't consolidated since 1382. So anything above 1382 keeps the 4-hour uptrend. We have the 12-period exponential moving average support as a visual guide, almost like a loose and a reacting uptrend line, but there's no sign of slowdown. And again, we are entering a range where there's a lack of resistance, and we broke a pattern that everybody was watching. This is hype and FOMO reaching the gold market. It hasn't happened in pretty much 2 years. We've seen it in crypto, we've seen it in marijuana stocks, now it's gold's turn. And if we can get over 1434, that's when the fun begins for these bulls. If it hasn't been fun already, doesn't mean we're going to break that level and just shoot right up, but just the fact that if we can get over that resistance level, the bulls, it's like a bull playground up here. And looking at the bull miners, look at the end of the day. This is an example of FOMO. This is the last candlestick of the day with the volume coming in, and we just saw a 2.5% move in the last 5 minutes of trading. Why did that happen? FOMO. That's everybody getting in and saying, gold's still bullish, gold's likely to go up overnight. We want a position because a gap up open or a higher open is likely on NUGT. And right now, looking at extended hours, that is potentially setting up to play out. So that's everybody saying, give me those shares. I want to be holding overnight. So the daily time frame, again, same thing. Certainly day trading opportunity today with the bulls going a solid 10% from the open. So day trading opportunity is there. But again, in my opinion, if you're entering up here, the risk to reward is not ideal. And we have consolidation. We had the hourly oversold pullback back here June 10th where we were scouting entries. And we'll look for another daily higher low in the near term future. That being said, if you're looking at bear miners and bear gold, you want to be very experienced playing oversold bounce trades. And just be aware that RSI levels can get to extremes because this is a pattern that has been 2 years in the making and we have emotions running very, very high. So it's worth scouting for a short-term bounce. Let's just look at dust real quick. So it's worth scouting a short-term bounce But again, it's the kind of scenario where someone probably entered 2 days ago, and let's say they entered at 12:30, just like that, they're down 12%, thinking that they were getting in and it was already beat up. So if you're going to try bounces, you have to keep tight stop losses, and you have to respect them, because it can always go lower, I promise you that. I appreciate you watching. We'll continue to check back in throughout the week. See you tomorrow. Looking to have a hobby farm with spots to grow annual food for myself and to share with others. I'd like to have chickens and goats, and open to any and all suggestions. The property is 3.5 acres. It was owned by a career landscaper, so it's in pretty pristine condition in that regard. And there's ponds and features, but 3.5 acres, most of the land's in front, the corner, back left corner here, the property line ends, and it comes along the side here, and it goes out over a couple little creeks. We'll do a whole walk around in the circle, but the best spot for the sun in terms of lack of shade appears to be right around here. So I was thinking potentially just doing a bunch of raised beds in here, and there are deer around, and as you can see there's geese around, so potentially fencing that off with something permanent and wooden. But a good amount of space for those raised beds here, and then there's another spot here along the side to put a couple in. So we got 2 ponds. This is the first one. It is about 5 feet deep. It was stocked at one point. I'm trying to throw some food in and figure out what's still in here. He said some catfish and potentially some carp, and certainly a bunch of frogs. It looks pretty well established as far as doing its thing and maintaining itself. There's not many mosquitoes on the property. I would like to put a couple bushes perhaps on the other little pond that has less around it that would encourage dragonflies. And I'm going to put a swing here that has some sides going up it. I think it's cedar and finished, so definitely would rot eventually, but I'd like to trellis something up it, perhaps hardy kiwi. I like trellising things a lot, so we're going to be doing peas and cucumbers and all that stuff, but certainly open to suggestions. We'll go on the other side of the creek here. The property goes about 5 feet on the other side of the creek, and here's just one little offshoot of the creek. That one's pretty low, other one's bigger. I was considering bamboo because I want it as a resource for building or trellising or whatever, and I also like to have it for goats in the winter to give them something green, but I'm also not sure if I want to pick a fight with trying to contain bamboo for the next decade. So this is the main portion of the creek, and it does get pretty good flow, and it goes pretty much along the back of the property line, but like I said, 5 feet on the other side. There's another good decent spot of sun up here in this little open part of the field, and I'd like to have blueberries and figs. We've already got raspberries and grapes on the property, which I'll show you, but this looks like a pretty good spot to perhaps throw down a half dozen figs, half dozen blueberries, whatever we could fit. But other than that, the majority of the land in here does get a bunch of shade because there's some big beautiful trees. So we're now walking. We've got the pond we just looked at, and then there's a barn up there we'll look at, but there's a smaller pond. It's more shallow. I think it's only about 3 feet deep, and this is the one that doesn't have as much around it, so perhaps putting some beneficial plants to encourage more dragonflies. There's certainly a few around. This one's mostly just frogs in here. And then both of these ponds are connected, and they lead to a little runoff that goes to the corner. This is the back left corner of the property if we're facing out the front door of the house, and it just runs and meetups with the creek there.